Okay, so welcome back to the first session with respect to the CLAT current affairs analysis. So in the previous session, in live, I told you very clearly that how I'll be approaching the current affairs with respect to CLAT examination. So last year and this year, there is one news that has been keep on revolving. Last year, there is a news about India UK free trade agreement. Okay, so that was the news that was there in the last year. So usually when these kind of agreements with between two countries, that is called as India and UK happens, what happens is it will take approximately 1 year to have a deal signed. So last year we had it in June, and right now this year it has been implemented. Okay, so from the past 3 days we are having the entire newspaper was having the articles related to India UK free trade agreement only. Okay. And see, talking about this free trade agreement, usually what happens with this free trade agreement is both the countries will benefit from each other. Okay, so this free trade agreement talks about a list of entities or list of goods that where both countries will accept. Okay, without any kind of tariffs. Okay, any kind of taxes. Okay. So suppose in India you take a tractor is there, okay. So whatever is a manufacturing cost of the tractor will be the same in that country also. So there will be no any additions with respect to what the cost of that cost of the tractor. Okay, in the same way, suppose if we need any kind of good from UK also, we will also ask in the same sense. Okay, UK is asking leather from India. So what we do is there will be a list of entities, list of products that UK needs from India and India needs from what UK. So both countries vis-a-vis will benefit from each other with respect to this. So this is an important article with respect to international relations, and they'll ask you a question. Okay, in a question in a paragraph format, they'll give you the entire notes about what India UK relationship, but what kind of questions will come out, obviously I have also given that also. Okay, so let me initially see this article here. You see this new trade pact, a win-win for India. New trade pact, a win-win for India and UK. Okay, so they're talking about two countries. I told you that both countries have to benefit from each other. Okay, so initially what I'll do is I'll read out the article, and I'll not read the complete article, but I'll read the places where the questions will be defined, will be actually asked. Usually, if suppose if there is a question on India UK, if there is a question on India UK relationship, okay, the question will be asked, and on that basis they will be asking you 5 to 6 questions. Okay, and you have to be prepared well. So we'll go in an umbrella model. Okay, suppose in this article, if you see, they were talking about fisheries, they are talking about marine products, they are talking about leather, they are talking about services. Okay, and what we are asking from UK, we are asking, and they said they will give these alcohol products. Okay, and they are also talking about some other services that India and what it is depending on. Okay, so this friendship, this is also kind of friendship anmat, obviously we are making with respect to UK. Okay, and this will benefit somewhere around $100 billion. So the trade what is happening with respect to India UK is $100 billion with respect to only this free trade agreement. Okay, so the entire article was focusing on what we are exchanging between the two countries. The article మొత్తం focus చేస్తుంది దాని గురించే. Okay, and let us see those areas once. First one, the India UK Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, called as CETA, CETA it's called as, okay, called as CETA, okay, which came into force on July 15, okay, marks a pivotal moment in the evolution of bilateral ties. Okay, you know what are bilateral ties? It's between two countries, it's called as bilateral ties. Okay, next one. More than a conventional tariff reduction pact. Yeah, more than a conventional tariff reduction pact. The agreement reflects a strategic alignment between two major democracies seeking to recalibrate their economic engagement in a rapidly shifting global order. The India-UK CETA represents one of the most wide-ranging trade agreements concluded by India in recent years, aligned with the broader India-UK Vision 2035. So they'll ask you about this anamata. What is this alignment? Enthavaru ante they have a vision 2035 ante the year 2035 anamata. So they're talking about this aligned with the broader India-UK Vision 2035. Okay, the CETA seeks to deepen cooperation across trade, technology. Okay, so in what all areas we are exchanging ante, one is what with respect to what trade, technology, climate and innovation. Okay, the agreement reflects the growing maturity of the India-UK economic partnership and provides a strong institutional framework for expanding trade and investment. Okay, next one. Both countries have further set a target of doubling bilateral trade to over 100 billion by 2030, and objective that now appears more achievable with the new institutional framework in place now. So this is the first paragraph, this is the first introductional paragraph, you are reading it. Okay, now what kind of questions they might ask. Okay, now 2025 you are having a deal with so called India-UK called as free trade agreement, but they will not ask you in this way. They will ask you, ఇంతకు ముందు ఎప్పుడైనా initially did India ever do a FTA pact with other country or not? Okay, this is the first type of question. In 2025 India UK are doing it in a larger sense. Till 2035 for they have a vision 2035 and they wanted to build this trade up to $100 billion. Okay, this is happening now, but they'll ask you questions like, is it ever initially that India has done this kind of agreement with any other country called as free trade agreement? Okay, yeah, India has done it many times with other countries, like India in 1998 India has done with Sri Lanka first time. Okay, and India has also done in 2005 with Singapore. Okay, so these type of questions will be asked with respect to only what free trade agreement. I told you what is free trade agreement. A free trade agreement is something where the goods will be exchanged without any kind of tariffs between two countries. Usually em avutundi, suppose general ga trade avutunnappudu you will have what ఒక గూడ్ మీద ఎక్స్ట్రా కాస్ట్ అనేది యాడ్ అవుతుంది, అర్థమవుతుందా? అది ఇక్కడికి వచ్చినప్పుడు కొంచెం కాస్ట్లీ. ద బెస్ట్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇఫ్ దట్ ఈస్ ఐఫోన్ దట్ ఈస్ బీన్ మ్యానుఫ్యాక్చర్డ్ ఇన్ వన్ కంట్రీ ఈజ్ వెరీ లో కంపేర్ టు ఆల్ అదర్ కంట్రీస్. ఐఫోన్ కాస్ట్ ఈజ్ వెరీ హై ఇన్ ఇండియా యాజ్ కంపేర్ టు అదర్ కంట్రీస్, అర్థమవుతుందా? దానికి ఏమవుతున్నాయి, ఎక్స్ట్రా కాస్ట్ యాడ్ అవుతున్నాయి అనమాట, అర్థమవుతుంది, ఎక్స్ట్రా ట్యాక్సెస్ యాడ్ అవుతున్నాయి. ఓకే, నౌ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ ద సేమ్ థింగ్. So this is one type of question they'll be asking. In question, the first question is what? Has ever India done it initially? Okay, this is the first question. What is the second question they can ask you? With respect to trade, because you're talking about India UK trade jarugutundi, $100 billion trade antunnaru kada. So deeni meeda they'll go to the past. In 2025 itself there is one question that has been asked. What is the question ante? One important topic has been asked. What is the topic? So they were talking about China was the largest trade partner to India. China is what? The largest trade partner to India. Okay, after China you have USA. So the first largest trading that has been done from India is China. So India and China is having what? The largest trading. Second is what? USA. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో దే మైట్ ఆస్క్ యూ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు $100 billion ట్రేడ్ అని చూసారా. ఇప్పుడు ఏమంటారు, విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు దిస్ విచ్ కంట్రీ ఈజ్ హ్యావింగ్, India is having the largest trade with which country అని అడుగుతాడు అనమాట. ఆన్సర్ ఇస్ వాట్? చైనా. ఓకే, సెకండ్ ఇస్ వాట్? యూఎస్ఏ. బికాజ్ ఎందుకు వచ్చిందంటే టాపిక్ మీకు ఇప్పుడైతే ఎలా అయితే ఇండియా యూకే రిలేషన్షిప్ అయ్యిందో 2025లో యూఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ అన్ ఇంపార్టెంట్ టాపిక్ కాల్ వాట్? ఇండియా యూఎస్ రిలేషన్షిప్ ఆల్సో. వెన్ నరేంద్ర మోడీ వెంట్ టు యూఎస్, దేర్ యూ హ్యావ్ దిస్ ఎంటైర్ థింగ్. Okay, so that is what. Now, so from the first paragraph you might have what? These kind of questions that have been asked. Okay, the next one. Now let's see this from this side heading. In this side heading we are talking about what? Gains for both sides. They are talking about what? Gains for what? Both sides. The headline gain for India is a zero duty access secured for 99% of Indian exports to the UK. This is expected to boost labor intensive sectors such as textiles, leather, footwear, marine products and gems and jewelry which are sensitive to pricing. Okay, ఏమంటున్నాడు, దీనివల్ల ఇండియా గెయిన్ ఏంటి? 99% గెయిన్ అవుతుంది అంటున్నాడు అనమాట. ఎందుకు? బికాజ్ యూకే వాజ్ ఆస్కింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఇండియా దీస్ ఏరియాస్. ఏ ఏరియాస్ అడుగుతుంది? టు సప్లై. వన్ ఈజ్ కాల్డ్ as వాట్? టెక్స్టైల్స్. మీకు తెలుసు కదా, ఇండియా వాజ్ లీడింగ్ ఇన్ ద సెకండ్ ప్లేస్ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు వాట్ అపారల్ అండ్ టెక్స్టైల్ ఇండస్ట్రీ. అర్థమవుతుందా ఏంటి? సెకండ్ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ వాట్ అపారల్, టెక్స్టైల్, లెదర్ ఇండస్ట్రీ నుంచి చూసుకుంటే ఇండియా ఈజ్ హ్యావింగ్ ద సెకండ్ లార్జెస్ట్ ప్రొడక్షన్. ఓకే, సో దీనివల్ల ఎవరు బూస్ట్ అవుతారు? ఇవన్నీ చేసేది ఎవరు? స్మాల్ వాట్ ఆర్టిజన్స్, అంతే కదా. స్మాల్ ఆర్టిజన్స్ అంటే ఎవరు? ఎవరైతే ఆ వృత్తిలో ఉన్నారో వాళ్ళు చేస్తారు. హూ ఆర్ డిజైన్ టు దాట్ ఏరియా, దే విల్ డూ ఇట్, దే విల్ గెట్ బెనిఫిటెడ్ రైట్ నౌ. అర్థమవుతుందా? నౌ ఇప్పుడు ఏంటి, ఐ టోల్డ్ యూ కదా, బికాజ్ వీళ్ళు తయారు చేసే వాట్ ఎవర్ దీస్ పీపుల్ ఆర్ మేకింగ్ ద ఫైన్ ప్రోడక్ట్, యూకే ఈజ్ ఆస్కింగ్ నౌ, దే విల్ హ్యావ్ వాట్ వరల్డ్ నుంచి అప్రిషియేషన్ వస్తుంది. Lot of goods will be taken now, every time trade will happen, they will benefit, that is very good. But really, for example, the people who are making these goods, India has launched a scheme for protection of these people called as PM Vishwakarma Yojana. That is also very important. They'll ask you that also. Vishwakarma Yojana eppudu release ayindi, eppudu ochindi ani cheppesi, that is one type of question they will ask you. Okay, now talking about this, so what all areas they are asking? Now it will boost what? Labor intensive sectors such as textiles, leather, footwear, marine products and gems and jewelry which are sensitive pricing. Okay, ఇక చూడండి, ఇక్కడ ఇప్పుడు చెప్పాం కదా టెక్స్టైల్స్, లెదర్, ఫుట్వేర్, అపారల్ ఇవన్నీ. నెక్స్ట్ వన్ మెరైన్ ప్రొడక్ట్స్ అంటే ఆబ్వియస్లీ టాక్ అబౌట్ మెరైన్ ప్రొడక్ట్స్లోని టాక్ అబౌట్ ఫిషరీస్ కానీ. ఇండియా ఇస్ ద లార్జెస్ట్ ఎక్స్పోర్టర్ ఆఫ్ షింప్ అని తెలుసు కదా మీకు. అది విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు ప్రొడక్షన్ ఆఫ్ మెరైన్ కూడా ఫిషరీస్కి వస్తే, with respect to that, India is also what obviously second largest producer of fish in the world. అర్థమవుతుంది, that is one thing. ఇంకోటి ఏంటంటే పర్ల్స్ గురించి కానీ, అర్థమవుతుందా, ఇవన్నీ మెరైన్ ప్రొడక్ట్స్ కింద వస్తుంది అనమాట. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ వన్ gems and jewelry, okay, which are sensitive pricing. Next one, it will also benefit high value sectors such as engineering goods and chemicals where margins depend on consistent market access. Okay, tariffs ranging from 70% on processed foods to 12% on textiles will now come down to what? Zero. అర్థమవుతుందా ఏమంటున్నాడు? చూడండి, టారిఫ్స్ రేంజింగ్ అంటే ఎక్స్ట్రా కాస్ట్ అనేది 70% ఆన్ ప్రాసెస్డ్ ఫుడ్స్. ఓకే, ప్రాసెస్డ్ ఫుడ్స్ టు 12% ఆన్ ప్రాసెస్డ్ ఫుడ్స్ 70% అయితే టు 12% ఆన్ టెక్స్టైల్స్ విల్ నౌ కమ్ డౌన్ టు జీరో అన్నాడు అనమాట. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో ఈ 70% ఎంతైతే ఎక్కువ ఉన్నదో, అంటే 70% ఉందంటే ఆబ్వియస్గా కాస్ట్ ఈజ్ వెరీ హై. 12% ఉన్న తయారైన దాంతో పోల్చుకుని 12% అంటే ఆబ్వియస్ ఇట్స్ హై కదా. అప్పుడు ఏమంటున్నారు వాళ్ళు? జీరోకి వచ్చేస్తుంది చెప్తున్నారు అనమాట. అర్థమవుతుందా? జీరోకి వచ్చేస్తే ఆబ్వియస్లీ వీళ్ళకి ఎవరైతే తయారు చేస్తారో వాళ్ళకి ఇట్ ఈస్ అ బెనిఫిషియల్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ ఫర్ దెమ్. You got my point here. So who is making these products will be beneficial factor if it's coming to zero. If it is 70%, obviously the entire cost will be cut down for each and every area. Okay, now that is what they're saying. Obviously this is a very big beneficial factor for what? The people with respect to what? Textile as well as what? Processed food industries. Okay, next one. The Indian government has also addressed concerns relating to what? Steel exports. Okay, with respect to steel also, India has a very good quality of steel. Even in the world markets also, with respect to steel, Indian steel is what? Rising always. You take examples such as US and China are having the world's very good, like world's largest productions. But with respect to quality, people will always purchase from what? India. Okay, India's steel manufacturing sector is also very high. Okay, now talking about this, so ఇక్కడ చూడండి, ఇక్కడ what kind of question can come from respect to steel గురించి అడిగితే మీకు గుర్తుందా? there is one topic with respect to Indian economy. ఇదంతా జనరల్ నాలెడ్జ్, జనరల్ స్టడీస్లోనే. with respect to economy, there is one topic. You all talk about Indian core industries. 8 core industries ఉంటాయి అన్నమాట. ఓకే, ఆ 8 core ఇండస్ట్రీస్లో కూడా దేనికి ఎక్కువ వెయిటేజ్ ఉంటుంది అంటే, out of these 8 core industries, highest weightage was always given for what? Steel. Somewhere around 27 to 28% istarannamata. Highest weightage was given. Okay, because this steel, I told you, because it is having huge demand in what? The global markets. In where? Global markets loni you are having what? Huge deal kabatti you are having what? Highest importance was given to this. How do you know this? There is one index called as index of industrial production. It's called as what? Index of what? Industrial production. Okay, dani batti you will get to know for which it has given high. Steel is given high, whereas fertilizers was given low. Adamotunda. So with respect to that 8 core industries, because steel అనేది వచ్చింది కాబట్టి It is one of the core industry kabatti you need to know that. Steel ante SAIL ante kada, Steel Authority India Limited obviously. So that is how you need to know it. So with respect to this area, you have to even revise what? Indian Index of Industrial Production. It's very important. Okay, now coming back here. So UK's new steel measures that came to effect on July 1st, both sides have agreed on arrangements that protect commercial interest, minimize market disruptions and provide, just a minute, yeah. Yeah, and provide greater certainty for what? Indian exporters. Moreover, the import for electric vehicles, now this is a very important point, electric vehicles gurinchi maatladutunnadu. In India, for the first time, on talks of electric vehicles has come through a scheme called as FAME. It's called as what? FAME, FAME. Okay, so this is a scheme which has come into existence initially. It's called as what? FAME. Okay, so this is with respect to what? Electric vehicles. Electric vehicles. Okay, so because we're talking about what? Moreover, the import of electric vehicles will be subject to what? Tariff rate quotas. Important ఏంటి? We are what? Taking from UK. అది టెక్నాలజీ తీసుకోవచ్చు, అర్థమవుతుంది, అలాగే వెహికల్స్ ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకోవచ్చు, ఏదైనా అవ్వచ్చు. ఓకే, 2 వీలర్స్ మెయిన్లీ, 2 వీలర్స్ ఆర్ 4 వీలర్స్. Okay, so moreover the import of what? Electric vehicles will be subject to what? Tariff rate quotas, with tariffs being reduced in a phased manner. Tariffs being what? Reduced to what? In a phased manner అన్నమాట. అంటే 28% ఉండేది ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ 12% రావచ్చు, 10% రావచ్చు, 5% రావచ్చు, 2% రావచ్చు. In a phased manner it will be done because we have a deal up to what? 2035. Okay, now this reflects what? India's calibrated approach to balancing what? Consumer access with continued support for domestic manufacturing. India has also retained appropriate safeguards in sensitive sectors such as agriculture and dairy. Agriculture and dairy also. So you know one thing, with respect, ఇక్కడ క్వశ్చన్ చెప్పాను మీకు, ఇక్కడ ఏ క్వశ్చన్ రావచ్చు అంటే with respect to electric vehicles they may talk about FAME, ఇది అడగచ్చు. They may talk about what is E20 అడగచ్చు. E20 talks about what? Ethanol blending. Okay, petrol 80%, 20 is what? Ethanol. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో slowly what? 20% ethanol, 80% petrol. Slowly Indian government want to make sure what? Ethanol production is high. E60 చేస్తాడు, E80 చేస్తాడు, and finally E100. It will take some time. అర్థమవుతుందా? And you know that very clearly this ethanol comes from what? It's an output of what? Sugar industry. Sugar industry. And you know very clearly with respect to sugar industry, one sugar industry, talking about sugar is under what? FRP. Okay na? Fair and remunerative prices. అర్థమవుతుందా? And this is also part of what? MSP, minimum support price. In minimum support price you are having how many crops? There are 22 crops. 23 are there, 22 plus 1, ఆ 1 ఏంటి ఇక్కడ? Sugar. And you know sugar takes somewhere around 220 days for its growth. It needs more rainfall, more water. It's a water intensive crop. You know it very clearly. So that is what with respect to sugar. With respect to the production wise in states, you know Uttar Pradesh is leading in sugar production. Okay, so this is what we need to cover extensively. This is called as umbrella process. Okay, the next one. So I told you what is ethanol blending. What is ethanol? Is a output of what? This sugar industry. Okay, now talking about this, come back here. So from respect to what? These electric vehicles, you will have what? FAME, electric vehicles gurinchi. Okay, now the other point, if you see, ఇక్కడ talking about what? Agriculture and allied and dairy అన్నాడు. Agriculture is one of the important sector of India. Initially we used to call this as agrarian economy. Agriculture right now supports somewhere around 16%. Okay, somewhere around how much? 16% to GDP. Okay, ఇది ఓకే. ఇప్పుడు లాస్ట్ టైమ్ ఇన్ కోవిడ్, డ్యూరింగ్ ద టైమ్ ఆఫ్ కోవిడ్, అగ్రికల్చర్ ఈస్ ద ఓన్లీ లోన్ వుల్ ఫండింగ్. ఇట్ ఫ్రమ్ అగ్రికల్చర్ ఓన్లీ డ్యూరింగ్ టైమ్ ఆఫ్ కోవిడ్ ఇట్ సపోర్టెడ్ సమ్వేర్ అరౌండ్ 3 to 4% ఆఫ్ వాట్? GDP. వెరీ హై, బికాస్ ఆ టైంలో ఆల్ ది అదర్ సెక్టర్స్ విల్ డౌన్ఫాల్. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇండియా ఈజ్ అ కంట్రీ వేర్ యూ హ్యావ్ వాట్? ఆల్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ రిసోర్సెస్. India is a country where you are living exactly in tropic of Cancer. Okay, so definitely you will be having what good resources with respect to water unnadi, terrain unnadi, obviously it's very good for what agriculture. Okay, so that is the reason why it is very important in agriculture. Now agriculture and you talk about what, how the crops are grown, in what soils they are grown, okay, what is the temperature requirements are there, what is the rainfall requirements are there. If rainfall is not there, how can you irrigate the lands? Obviously irrigation కి వచ్చినప్పుడు through canals చేస్తున్నారా, through so called wells చేస్తున్నారా, okay, through other sources చేస్తున్నారా అనేది it's very important obviously, yeah. But majorly we are doing through canal process. 65% in India with respect to agriculture is done through what, canal systems. Okay, now talking about this. So agriculture, I told you with respect to agriculture what crops are grown, and you talk about major crops of India. We talk about paddy, you talk about wheat, you talk about sugarcane, you talk about cotton, you talk about tea, you talk about so called cotton, you talk about coffee. Okay, so there are food grain crops were there as well as plantation crops were there. Okay, so all these were there. But recently we are talking about agriculture, they are asking you, where is this turmeric board of India? The turmeric board of India is there in so called where, Telangana. Okay, they will ask you, where is coffee board of India, where is tea board of India? ఇవన్నీ అగ్రికల్చర్ రిలేటెడ్ సంబంధించినవి అన్నీ, దే విల్ ఆస్క్ యూ దిస్. ఓకే, అండ్ నెక్స్ట్ వన్, ఇక్కడ అగ్రికల్చర్ అండ్ దేర్ ఇస్ అ టాపిక్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ అగ్రికల్చర్ అండ్ అలైడ్ యాక్టివిటీస్. ఈ అలైడ్ యాక్టివిటీస్లోని ఇట్స్ అ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ అగ్రికల్చర్లోని, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ డైరింగ్, మిల్క్ ప్రొడక్షన్, marines, fish production also comes in what, under agriculture only. Poultry, cattle, everything comes under what, it's a part of what, allied activities of what, these. Because if agriculture is not there, these all will not survive. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఆక్వాకల్చర్ ఉందండి, ఆక్వాకల్చర్ ఎలా చేస్తున్నారు, చాలా స్లోగా, చాలా కంటైన్డ్గా, చాలా ప్రొటెక్టివ్గా చేస్తారు జనరల్గా. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ దిస్, వీఆర్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ అగ్రికల్చర్ అండ్ డైరీ. విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు డైరీ అంటున్నారు కదా, డైరీ అంటే ఏంటి, మిల్క్ ప్రొడక్షన్ అనమాట. యూనో ఇండియా ఈజ్ ఆల్సో వాట్, సెకండ్ లార్జెస్ట్ ఇన్ ప్రొడక్షన్ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు వాట్, మిల్క్ ప్రొడక్షన్. ఆ మిల్క్ ప్రొడక్షన్లో హైయెస్ట్ ఇస్ కమింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ వేర్, ఉత్తరప్రదేశ్. Right now, recent surveys we talk about. Okay, so you have to know with respect to what, this dairying, and the father of ఇప్పుడు డైరింగ్, ఇప్పుడు రీసెంట్గా యూ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ వాట్, మిల్క్ ప్రొడక్షన్ వాజ్ వెరీ హై ఇన్ ఇండియా అంటున్నారు. అది తీసుకొచ్చింది ఎవరి వల్ల అయింది, దేర్ హ్యాస్ టు బి సమ్ ఇన్నోవేషన్స్ కదా ఆబ్వియస్లీ. దిస్ ఈస్ కాల్డ్ యాజ్ వాట్, ఆపరేషన్ ఫ్లడ్ అంటారు అనమాట. అంటే మిల్క్ ప్రొడక్షన్ పెరగడానికి ఒక ఆపరేషన్ చేస్తారు, కాల్డ్ యాజ్ ఆపరేషన్ ఫ్లడ్, కాల్డ్ యాజ్ వైట్ రెవల్యూషన్. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో వైట్ రెవల్యూషన్ అన్న ఆపరేషన్ ఫ్లడ్ అన్న ఒకటే, ఎవరు చేశారు, హూ హెస్ డన్ ఇట్, ఇట్స్ ఓకే, యూ హ్యావ్ టు నో వెరీ క్లియర్లీ. ఓకే, నౌ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ దిస్. So with respect to dairy, they'll ask you who is the father of operation flood, or who is the father of white revolution in India, or with respect to dairy, what is India's place in the world with respect to what, production wise. Okay, I told you now. So this is how the questions are asked, ante ee okka dani meeda I have taken many questions here. You got my point? The next one, yeah, see this, yeah. The deal also opens access to government procurement markets, enabling Indian firms to bid for a wider range of public contracts in the UK, especially in sectors such as infrastructure, services and consulting. Okay, adhamayinda clear ga, what he was saying, this deal also opened access to what, government procurement markets. గవర్నమెంట్ ప్రొక్యూర్మెంట్ మార్కెట్స్ అంటే ఏం లేదండి, దే కాలేజ్ ఏపీఎంసీస్, అగ్రికల్చరల్ ప్రొడ్యూస్ మార్కెట్ కమిటీస్, కానీ మండీస్ అంటారు మనం. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ దే కాలేజ్ రైతు బజార్స్ అంటాం అనమాట. ఓకే, నౌ సో దీనివల్ల ఏమవుతుంది, ఆ డీల్ వల్ల మనం ఇంకా ప్రొడక్షన్ అనేది ఎక్కువ చేస్తూ ఉంటాం అనమాట. ప్రొడక్షన్ ఈజ్ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్. ఓకే, నౌ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ దిస్, సో enabling Indian firms to bid for what, wider range of public contracts in the UK, especially in sectors such as infrastructure, services and consulting. Equally important is the agreement's emphasis on services and professional mobility. Okay, what is this professional mobility? ఎక్కడైనా మనం ఇప్పుడు ఒక సర్వీస్ ఇస్తున్నామండి వాళ్ళకి. లెట్ us కన్సిడర్, మీరు యూ హ్యావ్ దిస్ బీపీఓ కంపెనీస్, కాల్ సెంటర్స్, వాళ్ళ అక్కడ నుంచి వాళ్ళకి దర్ ఇస్ అ బ్యాంక్ ఇన్ యూకే, బట్ ద సపోర్టింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ఎక్కడుంది, ఇక్కడ ఉంది అనమాట. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఆ సపోర్టింగ్ సిస్టమ్ ఇక్కడ నుంచే వాళ్ళు యూకే క్లయింట్స్తో మాట్లాడతారు ఫోన్లో. They'll talk with them, okay, and they will what is this called a supporting system. They have any problem, obviously the people over here will be getting trained from that country. మనం అక్కడికి వెళ్తాము, will get trained, come back here, and what, this has been done. That is called a supporting system here. Okay, now talking about this, so equal important agreements and emphasis of services and professional mobility, expanded access for Indian IT education, healthcare, financial and professional services providers, strengthens India's position as a global service hub. The agreement also strengthens cooperation in education and skills by enabling UK institutions to establish what campuses in India. UK institutions to establish campus in India ante they can keep what producer appudu meeku enante time vadu they will release 100 top universities in the world. Atlaga what they will do is they will try to what keep those colleges okay here adamavutunda ఆ కాలేజ్ అని ఇక్కడికి వస్తారు అండ్ ద పీపుల్ హూ ఆర్ టీచింగ్ దేర్ విల్ ట్రై టు వాట్ కమ్ హియర్ సో దట్ వాట్ ఏమవుతుంది అక్కడ దిస్ ఇస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ ఇట్స్ ఎ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ వాట్ అగ్రిమెంట్ బిట్వీన్ ద టూ కంట్రీస్. అట్లానే విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు ఐఐటీస్ వాట్ ఎవర్ వీఆర్ హ్యావింగ్ మీకు గుర్తుందా ఇన్ ఆఫ్రికా రీసెంట్గా వన్ ఐఐటీ హ్యాస్ బీన్ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ ఇన్ ఆఫ్రికా యు నో దట్ పాయింట్. రీసెంట్గా వన్ ఐఐటీ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా ఐ థింక్ ఇట్స్ ఐఐటీ చెన్నై ఇఫ్ ఐఎమ్ నాట్ రాంగ్ it has been established where in Africa. It's a kind of agreement anamata. So atlaga because UK is also having those kind of bigger institutions they can establish over here and the people may not go there, they will only come and study here. So that is one advantage over here. So that is what they are talking about education and about the education and skills by enabling what UK institutions to establish campuses in India. Modern provisions on digital trade, labor, gender, intellectual property and innovation make the agreement future ready, enabling Indian firms to integrate into the UK and global value chains while attracting investments for emerging sectors such as fintech and green technologies. These provisions will also create new opportunities for startups and global capability centers to further advance collaborations in emerging technologies such as AI. Okay, now నేను ఇక్కడ ఐఎమ్ రీడింగ్ అండ్ దట్ ఈస్ ఫైన్ బట్ వాట్ యూ డూ ఇస్ సపోజ్ ఐఎమ్ టీచింగ్ హియర్ అండ్ దిస్ ఇస్ టుడేస్ ఆర్టికల్ ఇదంతా ఈరోజు ఆర్టికల్ ఇదంతా నేను వై am I asking you to read several times Hindu అంటే there is only one particular reason I'm asking you to do it. The first and the foremost point is when you read the articles in Hindu, okay, first of all your fluency increases. Second one, because you have a topic, you have a section called as vocabulary that will go very good. Second thing is when you read ఇప్పుడు whatever this author has written I am reading it, my brain will concentrate on whatever he wrote and that concentration is very important when you solve what reading comprehensions in your examination. You will not go out of the box. Okay, so that is the importance of what reading newspapers. Okay, your fluency is what is very important. See, public speaking is very important andi. Okay, right now everyone is communicating in what? English itself. That is what the power of what this public speaking, reading newspapers. From olden times obviously people ask us to read newspapers. It is not because of what it's like you think in this way they'll always tell like that obviously. No, you have a lot of benefits reading what newspapers. You'll get a lot of knowledge. Okay, what exactly is happening, you will know it. So I have taken one article that has been continuously coming in the newspaper from the last 1 year and definitely will be in your paper. Okay, I have designed the questions also. Whatever I'm telling you, ee question రావచ్చు అని చెప్తున్నాను కదా దానికి ఏంటి దానికి దట్స్ అ లింక్ అన్నమాట. దే విల్ ఆస్క్ ఎలక్ట్రిక్ వెహికల్స్ అంటే ఆ స్కీమ్ ఏంటని అడుగుతారు ఆబ్వియస్. దట్స్ కాల్డ్ as ఫేమ్ స్కీమ్. అర్థమవుతుందా? ఇప్పుడు ఎక్కడైనా దే టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ సో కాల్ ఇండియా యూకే హ్యావ్ ఆల్సో ప్రామిస్ విత్ రెస్పెక్ట్ టు సోలార్ ప్యానల్ ఎక్స్చేంజ్ అని అనుకోండి. సోలార్ ప్యానల్స్ ఏమొచ్చు అక్కడ తక్కువకి వస్తున్నాయి కాబట్టి ఇండియా ఇస్ టేకింగ్ ఫర్ అ లోవర్ కాస్ట్. సో ఇఫ్ యూ టాక్ అబౌట్ సోలార్ ప్యానల్స్ యూ హ్యావ్ అ స్కీమ్ కాల్ as ప్రధాన్ మంత్రి సూర్య ఘర్ బిజ్లీ యోజన. యూ హ్యావ్ ఇట్ ఆబ్వియస్లీ, రూఫ్ టాప్ సోలార్ ప్యానలింగ్. ఇట్ ఇస్ దేర్. విల్ ఆస్క్ యూ వెన్ వాజ్ ద స్కీమ్ రిలీజ్డ్, ఎప్పుడు వచ్చింది, 2018 2017 16 డేట్ విల్ గివ్ యూ. దట్ ఈస్ హౌ యూ నీడ్ టు కనెక్ట్ ద పాయింట్స్. ఓకే, కమింగ్ బ్యాక్ హియర్. The UK is already, this is very important, see this area, the UK is already what? India's 6th largest investor, contributing around 5% of cumulative FDI, foreign direct investment equity, inflows into India since April 2000. Okay, so from April 2000 onwards, UK is what? The 6th largest investor in India. Okay, they'll ask you at the same time, which is now recently they'll ask you a question. Which is the largest investor in India? It is Singapore. Adamathna, Singapore is the largest investor in India. Even we have Mauritius also, which is the largest investor. Adamathna. So with respect to this, which is the largest, UK is what? already India's 6th largest investor, contributing around 5% of cumulative FDI. See, this is the article which came into existence. What they will do is when they are giving the questions, they will simply take out this line and they will ask you, with respect to India UK trade or FDI, UK stands in what position with respect to investment and adutha. You have to know that is what? The 6th largest investor with respect to what? FDI. Okay, next one. The agreement is expected to further strengthen bilateral investment flows also. Okay, so this is what they said. Next one. To maximize benefits from the CETA, the Indian industry must invest in quality upgradation standards, compliance and sustainability. Indian companies should leverage mobility. Okay, should leverage what? Mobility. Next one. One more point. Let us see this. Provisions to deepen their presence in the UK. Services, market, build partnerships and invest in long-term capabilities. That's fine. Again, with opportunities in sectors such as processed foods, textile, handicrafts and IT-enabled services and business services, industry bodies having a critical role to play in enabling what? Micro, small and medium enterprises to benefit from the agreement. This requires guidance on compliance and regulatory requirements as well as procurement of opportunities. I told you all about this. Now, what kind of a question can come from this? Since they are talking about what? MSMEs. So, with respect to MSMEs, I told you very clearly what is a scheme that with respect to MSMEs, what is a scheme that government is coming into existence with respect to MSMEs. There is a scheme called as Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Pradhan Mantri Mudra Yojana. Okay, and ఈ MSMEs కి ఫండింగ్ ఎవరైతే ఇస్తారో, ఇప్పుడు నేను ఒక స్టార్ట్ చేద్దాం అనుకున్నాను, I had an idea, I will start it, but funding will be given by a bank called as SIDBI. It's called as what? SIDBI Bank. It is a bank called as what? Small Industries Development Bank of India. It's called as what? Small Industries Development Bank of India. Chappalante, for every country and the MSMEs play a very crucial role in building the growth of a country. GDP is peragali ante obviously MSMEs has to be there. They are what? Small industries ante, and the small industries will what? Focus on what? Larger items. So this MSME is very important to benefit what? From the agreement. So this is very important. MSMEs. So what is the scheme? Eppudu vachinda scheme anedi, from which date it came into existence, okay, and what is the bank that is giving the funding to these MSMEs, and ippudu ee MSMEs lo what is MSME? Is called as what? Micro, small and medium enterprises. Micro ante government enta funding istundi, small ante enta funding istundi, medium ante enta funding istundi. So when you read that, you have sub scheme. దాంట్లో కూడా సబ్ స్కీమ్, కిషోర్ అనే స్కీమ్ ఉంది, తరుణ్ అనే స్కీమ్ ఉంది ఆబ్వియస్లీ. ఓకే, యూ హ్యావ్ సబ్ స్కీమ్ తరుణ్ ప్లస్ అనే స్కీమ్ ఉంది ఆబ్వియస్లీ. వాట్ ఇస్ ది స్కీమ్? ఎంత అమౌంట్ ఇస్తుంది? ఈజ్ ఇట్ సపోజ్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ మైక్రో ఇండస్ట్రీ, గవర్నమెంట్ ఈస్ గివింగ్ యూ సమ్వేర్ అరౌండ్ 10 to 15 crores as it increase, or 10 crores. Okay, and if government is giving 10 crores, what is the amount that you have to show to the government? Production wise ga no production chesin tarvata it has to go into the domestic market, and how much amount you are getting from that. Okay, even government will ask you that figure also. That's very important. You have to get somewhere around some 50 crore. I gave you 10 crores, you have to make it 50 crore. That is how the industries grow kada, obviously. That is what we are talking about. Okay, agarbatti is also small small industry andi. Okay, agarbatti, papads is also small micro industry obviously. Okay, now talking about this. Okay, so from MSMEs I told you what all questions will come. The next one is yeah, see this template for the future. At a time of rising regulatory barriers across the world, the India-UK CETA reaffirms the value of open rules based trade. It supports India's Atmanirbhar Bharat vision by enhancing competitiveness and complements the Make in India. Guttupetukondi, Make in India 2014 lo ochindi. On the same lines of Make in India, you have Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-sufficiency, indigenization. Atmanirbhar Bharat talks about what? Self-sufficiency and what? Idi eppudu ochindi telusa? After కోవిడ్లో స్టార్ట్ చేసుకున్నాం మనం జనరల్గా, ఎవరిని అడగకూడదు మనం జనరల్గా. వి లెట్ us మేక్ అవర్ ఓన్ ప్రొడక్ట్స్. సో దట్ ఇస్ వాట్ దే టాకింగ్ అబౌట్. సో ఆత్మనిర్భర్ భారత్ కేమ్ ఆఫ్టర్ కోవిడ్, వేర్ ఇస్ మేక్ ఇన్ ఇండియా హస్ కమ్ ఇన్ 2014. దట్స్ ఎ వెరీ ఇంపార్టెంట్ స్కీమ్ ఆల్సో. నాట్ టాకింగ్ అబౌట్ దిస్. Make in India and Digital India schemes through greater market access, services exports and mobility. For the UK, the agreement strengthens its strategic economic partnership with one of the world's fastest growing major economies. Okay. Now, upon implementation of the CETA, can reshape trade and investment flows, create quality jobs and growth, and transition India to a more competitive and innovation driven economy, thereby serving as a benchmark for trade agreements. Furthermore, the India-UK CETA can also serve as a foundation for trilateral economic partnerships by combining India's manufacturing strength and skilled workforce with the UK's financial, technological and global commerce networks. The UK's membership in the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trade for Trans-Pacific Partnership, together with the proposed India-European Trade Agreement, can further create complementary opportunities for Indian businesses to integrate into wider regional value chains. Now, what is the question? We don't overall suppose now this deal is very good right now. It is generating a lot of jobs, it's generating a lot of money. Obviously $100 billion trade is happening. Now in future what they wanted to do is they wanted to integrate with one more organization that is called as what? TPP. It's called as what? Trans-Pacific Partnership. It is also one of the major body with number of Pacific countries which are involved in this, obviously. So now what will happen is, if this deal is very good, obviously they will have to what? Again go back to this trilateral trade అవుతుందన్నమాట. bilateral అంటే 2, trilateral అంటే 3 అన్నమాట. సో ఆ మూడిట్లో ఏముంటుంది? obviously TPP will also be there, where it can expand the position of India's business in worldwide markets also now. అదనమాట. This will create what? lot of what? employment. This will create lot of what? money circulation, obviously. This will enhance our GDP in overall way. And the last one is, if you understand, din valla the poverty ratio chusara adi taggipotundandi. The poverty ratio will come down slowly and thereby what? generating more jobs in the and pushing more money into the market. That is very important, obviously. So this is how obviously this article is important. And the next question will come from where? What is TPP? What is Trans-Pacific Partnership? So this is how obviously the questions will be coming into existence with respect to what? this entire article. Okay. So with respect to this article, I have shown you what kind of questions will come, ఏమొస్తాయి ఏంటి అని చెప్పేసి I give you very clear cut areas. Okay. But now what I'll do is I'll take out one more area where the questions will actually come. Okay. See these questions, man, on the same topic what I given you right now. So I have formed a few questions, and actually I can frame more questions. Okay, but see these questions which are on the basis of the same article. First one, assumptive questions on the given topic. Whatever we have discussed that India UK trade free trade agreement dani meeda anamata. First one, India has done its first FTA with which country? Okay, so the answer is what? Sri Lanka. So answer is what? Sri Lanka. Sorry. So answer is Sri Lanka in the year 98. Next one, India's first CECA trade deal covering investments and services was signed with which country? This is also one economic partnership only. Idi evartho chesaru? Answer is what? Singapore. First lo cheppanu meeku. Okay, in 2005 the first time India has done a deal with Singapore. It's very important. Next one, just see this question, third question. In terms of leather production, which country is having the highest production? Okay, so the answer is what here? Sorry, China is having the highest production. Second is what? India, highest leather production. India lo kuda highest is coming from where? Anyone? Highest? Tamil Nadu, Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh is the famous Kanpur is called as what? The leather city, Kanpur. It's very important. Okay, next one. See the fourth question. Which country is the largest investor in India? Which country is what?
The largest investor in India is largely investing. So answer is what? I told you very clearly in the recent times. Answer is what? With respect to largest investor in India, I told you Singapore is doing the highest. Investing. అర్థమవుతుందా? Now trade వేరు, investing వేరు. అర్థమవుతుందా? ట్రేడ్ అంటే మాత్రం ఇక్కడ యూఎస్ వస్తుంది ఆన్సర్. ఇన్వెస్టింగ్ అన్నాడు సింగపూర్. ఓకేనా? నెక్స్ట్ వన్. With respect to the fisheries production, which state is leading? Fisheries production, I told you answer is what? Andhra Pradesh. Okay. With respect to fisheries, Andhra Pradesh is leading and 40% and approximately is coming from what? Andhra Pradesh itself. Okay, you know very clearly, even though India is having the second largest coastline in the world with 7,516 square kilometers, okay, దాంట్లో కూడా రీసెంట్గా రివైజ్డ్ వర్షన్స్లో చూసుకుంటే which state is having the highest coastline అంటే the first state is what? Gujarat is having the largest coastline. Okay, first is this, second is what? Tamil Nadu is having, the third is what? Andhra Pradesh is having. But అయినా సరే ఈ రెండు ఎందుకు లేవు? Why these two states are not having highest fish production అంటే because Andhra Pradesh is a state where you have inland rivers నుంచి కూడా we are extracting what? Fisheries అన్నమాట. This is very important. Shrimp production is highest coming from here itself. Shrimp అనేది కూడా. Okay, so what is the, I told you the second largest coastline దేనికి ఉంది? India is having the second largest coastline. What is the first year? Answer is what? Canada is having the first largest coastline. Okay, now the other one, let us see the sixth one. India has also signed FTAs with which countries? ఇంత చెప్పాను ఇంతకు ముందు దేంట్లో చేసింది ఇండియా అనేది? భూటాన్, మాల్దీవ్స్, మలేషియా, ఇండోనేషియా. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో ఇప్పుడు ఇండోనేషియా కాదు, మలేషియా కాదు, మాల్దీవ్స్ కాదు, భూటాన్. ఇండియా భూటాన్ ఇస్ దేర్. ఓకే, నెక్స్ట్ వన్. Next point, India has the highest trade with which bordering nation? So ఏమవుతుంది? India has what? Highest trade with which bordering nation? Trade చెప్పాను కదా, ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్ కాదు, ట్రేడ్ నౌ. సో ఆన్సర్ ఇస్ వాట్ హియర్? సింప్లీ ఆన్సర్ ఇస్ చైనా. Eighth question, just see this on the same topic. ఇంకా I can frame somewhere around 16 to 20 questions also. అర్థమవుతుందా? Now see this, India shares the largest boundary with which country? India shares what? The largest boundary. మనకి we have number of bordering countries కదా, దాంట్లో వాడు ఏమడుతున్న క్వశ్చన్, because there is a topic on India, they can ask you anything here. Okay, now India shares the largest boundary with which country అంటే the answer is what here? Bangladesh. It shares around 4096 square kilometers approximately. అర్థమవుతుందా? This is the largest boundary where India shares. Second largest is what? China. Third is Pakistan. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో దిస్ ఇస్ హౌ వీ షేర్ ద బౌండరీస్ విత్ ఈచ్ కంట్రీస్. సో వాళ్ళు ఒక క్వశ్చన్ తీసుకొని దే విల్ ఆస్క్ ఎనీ క్వశ్చన్ అండి, దట్ ఈస్ బీన్ ఫాలోడ్ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఆఫ్ ఎవ్రీ టాపిక్ దర్. ఓకే, ఐ హోప్ యూ అండర్స్టూడ్ హౌ వీఆర్ గోయింగ్ టు అప్రోచ్ దిస్ సబ్జెక్ట్, దిస్ టాపిక్ ఆర్ CLAT current affairs. So we'll be taking out what the important areas. Suppose tomorrow in the next class I will take about Supreme Court also. ఆ సుప్రీం కోర్ట్ని తీసుకొని మొత్తం ఇలాగే క్వశ్చన్స్ ఫ్రేమ్ చేస్తాను, మొత్తం దాని మీద ఏరియాస్ ఇస్తాను, వాట్ టాపిక్స్ విల్ కమ్, ఎప్పుడు వచ్చింది ఏంటి, ఎవ్రీథింగ్ విల్ బి వాట్ వెరీ బ్రీఫ్లీ అనలైజ్డ్. ఓకే, సో థ్యాంక్స్ ఫర్ టుడేస్ క్లాస్. ఓకే, సో విల్ మీట్ సూన్. థ్యాంక్ యూ.